Imagine buying a house, then realizing it's a dud. It's not so fun when you end up spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on repairs to your new property and you can't get your money back. Fortunately, there is a way for you to avoid this horror scenario, and it comes in the form of building and pest inspection reports. This guide takes you through what's involved in both types of inspections, including how much they cost, which parts are inspected, and more. If you're looking to buy a property, then this video is for you. Don't let fate decide your future. Instead, take the time and learn about buying a property, and whether it's your first time or whether it's done before. And hopefully by the end of this, you can be well on your way to learning how to treat property like a business. And if you haven't already, make sure you click on the follow button below, and also let me know your problems in the comments you have on your journey, and I'll create a video for you. How much effort will you put in? What are you willing to do to get there will determine how far you go. A little bit about me. I'm Scott Lavoon. I'm the founder of Wealth Through Property. I started investing in property at the age of 30 years old while working a full-time job as a tradie. I wasn't on a big income, and within the space of 3 years with the right mentors, I was able to build a system where I was able to retire with over 10 properties and over 100,000 in passive income. Due diligence is crucial to make sure your building is safe and sound. It's important for the property buyer to know what the property consists of, ensuring that there are no hidden concerns or issues that may lead to bigger problems in the future. When purchasing a property, it's important to ensure that the building and pest inspections are completed, no matter how old or new the property is. These inspections are essential in order to protect yourself from any unexpected surprises. This is where you get an inspector to come in and check the condition of the building. Look for signs of pests or termites and see if any major repairs or defaults are there. Let's break this down into two sides. You have the building inspection and you have the pest inspection. Both of these are independent of each other, but both are very important. A building inspection looks at the structure and integrity of the property, while a pest inspection checks to see if there are any types of pests, like termites or rodents, that may be damaging the property from inside or out. Let's first talk about the building inspector. When looking for a building inspector, it's very important to find an inspector who is experienced and has qualifications necessary to do the job properly. Don't be scared to call and interview your building inspector to ensure you're getting someone who is qualified and up to date with the current building regulations. With experience comes knowledge, so you would want to check the inspector has at least 5 years of experience and a full builder's license. The second person you need is a pest inspector, or someone who has experience in pest management. This is important to identify if there are infestations of pests or termites, as this could lead to bigger issues or more expensive repairs in the future. Experience in pest inspections is also essential. So again, check the qualifications and the licenses. And we still suggest look for someone who has at least 5 years of experience in pest inspections. While these are two separate tasks, you can get an inspector who does have both to save time and money. This will ensure that you're getting a complete overall evaluation of the property and can make an informed decision about whether or not to purchase a property. Let's work with using a professional that does both. So you've found a reputable inspector. It's important to know what they're looking for during the inspection. The tasks for the building inspection are as follows: inspecting the building structure and materials to identify any defects or damages, checking for any water damage, cracks, molds, and other forms of decay, identifying safety hazards like electrical faults and gas leaks, check for signs of infestations or termite activity, inspecting the building systems such as plumbing, drainage, and ventilation, brief appliance testing such as water heaters, dishwashers, and ovens, providing a thermal image evaluation of the area to identify any drafts or installation issues. You should also be aware what is included in the pest inspection. Check for any signs of pests like termites, rodents, and other insects, evaluating the property's risk factors associated with pests, inspecting the building for entry points that pests could use to get inside, checking cracks in the walls and foundations for any signs of termite activity, inspecting areas like under the house instead of cabinets for any signs of infestations, examining furniture and other belongings for signs of pests or eggs, checking for any signs of water damage or mold that could attract pests, identifying any weak spots that you may need to repair to prevent pests from entering the property. While understanding the importance of both building and pest inspections is essential, it's also important you know the limitations of these inspections. The limitations include the inspector may not be able to access certain areas of the building, such as crawl spaces or attics, if they are blocked off or inaccessible. In some cases, the property may be too old or have outdated building materials that are no longer in compliance with current regulations. Pest infestations can be difficult to identify if there are not any visible signs or evidence, so it's also possible for pests to go unnoticed during an inspection. They aren't licensed for electrical, plumbing, gas fitting, or drainage, so these are areas and systems you may need to get evaluated by separate professionals. Some things like asbestos, for example, may not be able to be picked up during an inspection. It is important that there may be some serious underlying issues with the property that are not visible during the inspection and can only be found through further investigation, such as a structural engineer. Obviously, we are starting to understand the roles which a pest and building inspection play out during the property decisions. But at what point would you carry these out? So you found the perfect property. Are you ready to buy it? But before you buy it, you make an offer. You need to decide if you should arrange a building and pest inspection first or after an offer is accepted. This decision can be tricky, especially in a hot market, where subject to building and pest clauses may give you a disadvantage when negotiating with the vendor. However, there are pros and cons to each approach, and it ultimately depends on the individual situation. When doing the inspection before an offer is inspected, inspected, you can use the results to access and either walk through the property or negotiate the selling price of the property based on any issues that are uncovered. This can be beneficial in the case there are serious problems with the property, as it could give you the upper hand when negotiating with the vendor. Though in a hot market, securing the property instantly then doing inspections could be the difference between getting the property or not. You can protect yourself by adding subject to building and pest clauses to your offer, which ensures that you get access to the inspection results after the offer has been accepted. The more subject to clauses you have in an offer, the less desirably it's going to be to the vendor. What are subject to clauses? These are clauses that need to be completed before the settlement, but are in favor of the buyer and not the seller. In the event these clauses aren't met, the buyer has the option to pull out and negotiate the repairs or work that is required. The seller may not want to repair these items, and they may not agree to a discounted price in the contract price that reflects the repairs costings. So your offer will be more desirable to them if they don't have any subject to clauses or very minimal subject to clauses. Some sellers may not be flexible with subject to clauses. So if you're in a hot market and the property is priced right and there's competition, you might want to remove all these subject to clauses before making an offer. You should consider if the building and pests is better before or after making an offer. Can you remove the emotion in the chance it comes back where you have to walk away from the property or the vendor refuses to further negotiate? Is this emotionally going to get to you? And where do you start to make irrational decisions based on emotion if you've already fallen in love with this property? This is something you need to think about. During hot markets, it is quite hard to weigh up all these factors, but the right decision will differ depending on the individual situation. Let's now fast forward. You've finally gotten your inspector out to the property. What else do you need to know? Did you know that you can actually go out with the building and pest inspector to view the property? This can be a great way to get any answers or questions that you might have, or if you want them to take pictures of particular areas of the property so you can re-familiarize yourself with it when you look through the report. Though be careful not to distract the inspector and make sure you don't interfere with their work. It doesn't take much to miss a structural fault or some long-term damage. Another option is, once they finish their site inspection, is that you can ask them to do a quick walkthrough with you, where the inspector can explain their findings in more detail. Another option, which is our favorite, is for them to call us from the property, or if they will be taking longer than expected, to provide you with a recap over the phone once their inspection is complete. This way you can ask any more questions and get any more information without having to wait for them to finish, which would otherwise take hours depending on the size of the property. If you don't do either, the phone call or site inspection, make sure you read the report thoroughly and understand what it means. If there are any problems highlighted, we highly recommend to call the inspector to discuss your concerns and how they can be rectified. For example, if there are termite issues found during the inspection, this could mean that you need to get a pest management company out there before purchasing, or even in some cases once you buy. Something that you may think is major, like a structural fault or damaged floorboards, may actually not cost you as much to repair and rectify as you think. It all depends on the type of work that is needed. But at the end of the day, you don't want to buy something that has major issues that will require either extensive renovations, even worse, cause your property value to depreciate. Also, once you receive these reports, there are two other professionals that you should consider to give your opinion on your report: your buyer's agent and your solicitor or conveyancer. If there is anything that doesn't make sense in a report or you don't understand, it's always a good idea to get someone else's opinion. Do you have another question about the building and pest inspection report? As you can tell, there is a lot involved, and we hope this video has helped you out a little bit. If you want to learn more about building and pest inspections, feel free to reach out. I really hope you've enjoyed this guide on how to start when looking to build your team and start your property journey. Please follow, like, share, and comment if you got any value, and stay tuned for more.